Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from my favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, KJ, and this is my spoiler review for the new Disney Plus series by Marvel's television production, Daredevil Born Again, Episode 5 spoiler review. So if you have not seen this show, please go watch it. But can you pause this for me? Hit that thumbs up button because that would help my YouTube channel grow. Get me new viewers and subscribers. So I appreciate that if you just do that one little thing and just hit the thumbs up button icon and come back and let me know what you think about season 1 of Daredevil Born Again. Tell me what you think about this episode and future episodes, of course, and let me hear your Marvel theories of how all this could connect to Avengers Doomsday and, of course, Avengers Secret War. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This episode starts off with a St. Patrick Day event as we kind of get like a real life glimpse of what New York looks like. Like, not the MCU New York, but like what New York looks like in real life. They use kind of footages of that. And it just kind of like reminds me of what New York really looks like. That's what I mean by that. But we see Matt Murdock going to a bank because he's trying to get a loan. And, you know, obviously when you try to get a loan for a bank, they have to go through, look at your background and your credit score and et cetera, et cetera. But the guy who gets to do it is somebody from another Marvel series on Disney Plus, which is Miss Marvel, a.k.a. her father, Yusuf Khan. And he looks at his stuff, and he had the pleasure to deny the loan because, you know, that's how it is. And if you remember the Netflix Daredevil series, he was an independent lawyer with Foggy Nielsen, and they weren't making that much cash. And, of course, that sticks with your record for a long time. But, you know, and especially for a big loan that he has, even though he has a good paying job, this what he was asking for from the track record of payments, loans, wasn't looking good for him. And, you know, that's how it is. But as soon as he was leaving, obviously, he heard some bank robbers, a group of bank robbers who robbed this bank, and he knew. So he purposely walked back in and became one of the hostage. And you know what? This is really cool. This is kind of like a quote-unquote filler-up episode. But I think this is the most better way, I believe, Marvel television or Marvel Studio, whatever you want to call it. If you just look out the filler up episodes from past Marvel series on Disney Plus, they weren't so great, and a lot of people, a lot of the diehard fans didn't really enjoy them, or they just never made sense to this. But this does. It does, but it really doesn't. But what they did is they handled it and came at it at a better angle with a better story of it. And you're wondering, so, well, explain. Well, here I am going to explain. So what I thought about this is that I knew this was going to be the filler episode, but I like how they turned it into a pretty really modern day comic book story. You know, I think the idea of like, okay, instead of putting, and I know they're going to put some other Marvel characters in the series, of course, but I think they're taking the distance routes, the long route, you know, the back roads route story, and they gave us Miss Marvel's father, Mr. Khan, and he plays an important part of this, and it makes sense because they're hinting the idea of like, yeah, Daredevil will interact with these Marvel characters that you may have seen on the Disney Plus series, and of course in the movies of as well. But I think the idea of giving, I don't think they have a plan, like an official plan with Daredevil that they want to share with us, I should say. But they gave us something, a little something. And you see him, saying, yeah, my daughter is Ms. Marvel and she's off in California. And then he explains, oh, I've been in California and LA, and she's meeting up with some friends. And of course, that is I think they call it the West Coast Avengers. And, there was that time where, in a way, they directed in the way where they brought up She-Hulk, because that's where She-Hulk was at, and that's how She-Hulk and Daredevil met. And so, this is the best way to address it and to acknowledge it in a way without having a whole episode about him and She-Hulk, because here's the thing, and it makes sense to me, is so far, and even in episode 6, which check out that spoiler review as well, because it's out right now. But it's not about they saw Daredevil in LA. It's about that there's no Daredevil in New York City, and this is about Matt Murdock not wanting to be Daredevil, as bad as Mayor Fisk not wanting to be the Kingpin no more. And they're trying a different way, and I believe that this whole thing is about them just realizing that this is not the way to go. And in their own ways, they feel like they are the hero to their own story. Like in this episode, and this is really genius, is that stuff like this starts encouraging, motivating him, maybe having Matt Murdock realize, like, maybe I need to put on the suit. Maybe I need to be Daredevil. I've been trying this way for so long, and it's not working. Nothing's getting done. And look what's happening. Because, again, he heard him. He can hear everything. He hears the detective who makes the deals with the criminals, and say, okay, if we do this, can you give us 2 people? Can you give us 3? Can you show us something in good faith? A bargaining chip, basically. And this, to me, mentioning Miss Marvel, her father mentions his daughter, Miss Marvel, even shows the Funko Pop, and it was really funny because obviously he's blind, but he gets the idea, like, this is like the MCU now. And the best way they can do this is give you that MCU feel as a filler up show. Because a lot of this so far, from episode 1 through 4, they focus on Daredevil and Mayor Fisk, because it's really kind of like their story. Again, this is called Born Again. So they're gonna, I think, to me, this is like, I'll use religion. So we know, Daredevil, Matt Murdock, is Catholic, or he was raised Catholic after his father was, murdered in the streets. But he lived a Catholic life in a Catholic foster care, and so he knows the prayers, he knows the biblical stuff, right? And so to me, this is where Matt Murdock gets, quote unquote, baptized. Now you're like, whoa, how does Matt Murdock get baptized in this? Well, this is where it starts. So after, the robbers come in, the bank robbers, they get all the hostage, including him. And, Matt Murdock's trying to talk his way, maybe trying to convince them. And of course, these guys ain't playing around. So what do? They hit Matt Murdock in the gut, kind of bang him in his forehead with the end of the firearm that they use. And, this kind of, I would be, and like most people, they would be very mad and upset and a lot of pain. And so now this kind of tips off. This is his baptism, because we see through this, and I loved it. So this whole thing is these guys were hired to steal an emerald that looks like a infinity stone. Well, not look like an infinity stone, but it has that same aura, and it reminds us that, oh my gosh, like people assume like, oh, is this an infinity stone? I thought Thanos, he destroyed them all. I thought Captain America put them all in place. Well, I got a theory just to save that. So, but this emerald that looks like us and gives us the Infinity Stone vibe. That's where I got a lot of people reacted to and said it. So I get that. And luckily, Mr. Yusuf Khan, he was not going to help these robbers, and Matt Murdock helped them. And what a great, unique, oddball team up. But this is just a sample of what kind of idea they're going to do with Daredevil once he teams up with others. We got it with She-Hulk, but we're getting this with him. And, why him? Because I believe that, again, I don't think they have like these big plans for Daredevil, the character, after season 1. And that's not bad. I don't think that he's going to be a part of so much. But again, we have Avengers Doomsday, which is now in production after that long social media live of announcements. You're just seeing all the actors and actresses who are actually in this film. But it doesn't mean there's no room left. There's plenty of room to add more. But it's better to have people realize, like, this is where Daredevil's going right now, and they're not giving you any more promises, which is a lot better. And that's what we get with this episode, because we're seeing this team up, and we see really cool fights as, they're going down to the bank vault. Matt Murdock needs to go to the bathroom, beats up the guy with the red face mask, ski mask, which is, represents him, because the leader was wearing a green mask, and there was a guy that was wearing a yellow mask, which is yellow, kind of reminds me of the Daredevil suit from She-Hulk, which that's pretty cool. And so they both, Matt Murdock and Mr. Khan, knew that you need 2 keys to open up this thing, but Matt Murdock he has his hearing so good, he unlocked it. And the guy he knocked out was wearing a blue, which I don't think there's a blue Daredevil suit. I could be wrong, so I'm sorry if there is. I didn't know. But, there's a lot of Infinity Stones reference too with those colors as well. There's red, blue, yellow, and green. Okay, just like that. And then the emerald was orange, which, that was some Infinity Stones. That's why I say, but I'll save that theory later. So luckily they got the Emerald Stone, and they made sure the bank robbers didn't get it. And they did it very well. After the SWAT team and the police got all the hostages safe, Matt Murdock chased the leader who's wearing the green mask, laid the smack down on him so badly. It was like watching Daredevil do Daredevil stuff. And we also learned that one of the women in the hostages was part of it. And as she was trying to take that little pouch, it was a piece of candy. And I thought that was genius. And I like that, because this is something you can read a story like that in a Marvel comic book. And so to me, this was like a filler episode that just felt like a Marvel comic storytelling. And that's what I like about this. And this is why I like this is probably one of their better filler up episodes out of all the Disney Plus series by Marvel so far. Now, don't get me wrong, there's other Marvel series coming after this, so you know, but it does give us an idea that they're going in a different direction with this. So obviously that's good because in the past, Marvel Studios, especially Kevin Feige, said like they're gonna slow down a little bit. They realize that okay, this the way they thought they were going, it's not working out, and they need a better strategy, and they need to focus more on the important stuff instead of trying to make these promises and leave so many post-credit scenes from the shows and the movies yet to be talked about, yet to be discussed, and still no answer to a lot of them. But I think now with Daredevil Born Again, this is them saying, okay, this is what we're getting, and that's it. But the Emeralds is the big important thing, because as Matt Murdock and Yusuf Khan meet again, he brings back that emerald and puts it in the candy dish. So that was really cool. So what I like about this is, again, this is the way they did this filler episode gives me hope that next future projects that are going to be on Disney Plus by Marvel, these filler episodes are going to be much handled better from the directors and the writers and everybody else involved. And this was a smart move. Like you don't need to jump. I think they want to take their time to have the character Daredevil meet the Avengers, meet Thor, meet Captain America, meet Falcon, meet Bucky Barnes and the Thunderbolts and all that. I think honestly this is the right way, and I'm pretty confident that Daredevil's gonna meet Miss Marvel at some point. I mean, her dad even invited him to dinner, so this is good. This is how they're gonna start it, and it's not a rush thing at all because she's in LA. So they laid it out very well. So we know that she's not in New York. We know that Spider-Man's in New York, but you just got to know that you ain't gonna see Spider-Man in this show because of Sony, and like whatever they do with Spider-Man usually stays in a Spider-Man film, or if he's gonna be a part of any of the Avengers movies, that's the only time you'll see Spider-Man show up. But you just gotta have to just accept that Spider-Man exists in New York, and he just wasn't there to stop the bank robbers in New York. So, maybe he just can't make it to Hell's Kitchen. I don't know, but they're trying their best to make everything make sense in the possible way, knowing that all these shows are connected in the cinematic universe. And when you do a filler up episode like that, I think this route was the best, because this is really good. And this was a 10 out of 10. This was a banger episode. Like, this was fun to watch. It gave us a lot of future things, and they teased a lot of things. So, let's start with Miss Marvel. So there, as Miss Marvel's father mentioned that she's in LA meeting up with some friends. That is a West Coast Avengers reference. So here's what I think. I don't think they're gonna do West Coast Avengers. I don't think they're gonna do a movie called Marvel Studios West Coast Avengers. Could they do it? Yes. But I think whatever happens in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars is what's going to be more important. I think they're going to focus more on that than try to make up the West Coast Avengers. I do see though the Young Avengers, but like I said earlier in the past reviews on this show, I think that the next Avengers, when the Avengers finally reassemble, I think characters like Miss Marvel, White Tiger as Angela Del Torres are going to be in the Avengers. I think, Kate Bishop's going to be in the Avengers. I think Daredevil could be in the Avengers. Yeah. I think, Hawkeye could be in it. Obviously, I don't think it's necessary for them to meet Thor, which I'm sure everybody wants those characters to meet Thor, and which I do too as a fan. Like, that'd be fun and cool. But if you're gonna go by story and go by what Marvel Studios wants to go and how Kevin Feige handles things now, I think and I believe that, instead of doing a Young Avengers, I bet you they changed their mind, and I think they're just gonna make a whole new group, and they'll be the official members of the Avengers. Now, like Sam Wilson can be the leader of Captain America. He can be the leader of this Avengers, right? Like, I'm not saying he won't be in it, but I'm saying, like, I don't think we're gonna get Thor, Hulk like that at the moment. I don't think they're needed like that at this moment in storyline wise. I think there's a bigger story for them that's beyond an Avengers movie, and I think there's a story to tell with the Hulk. Like, there's something about the Hulk. Now the Hulk has a son. Thor has a daughter, or adopted daughter, or however you want to put it, but he has a little girl now. And things are just different, like with the new Asgard. And then, like Captain Marvel, she could be in Avengers, but I think Ms. Marvel will be the Avenger. I think this is what it's going to be. I think there's going to be a really big change. And I think they're betting on the bigger change. And I think the characters are slowly but surely introducing throughout the Disney Plus series. I think they changed their mind again. Like I said, I believe there's going to be other things, but I really believe that Young Avengers and West Coast Avengers thing, I don't think they would do a series, even a movie, a Disney Plus movie series. I don't think they would do that. I think they're just going to focus on the Avengers, which the Avengers can be any members of the group. And it's always been like that in comic books too. Like, it's not always Captain America the leader. Sometimes Wolverine's the leader. Sometimes Iron Man. Sometimes, whoever, Spider-Man. There's just different stories. Like the Midnight Sun, I think the Midnight Sun group would be an idea. That would be fun. I think that's a project worth doing and investing money in. And I think that can sell a lot of movie tickets. And I think that would sell a lot of merchandise. But I just can't imagine a West Coast Avengers movie making money like that as a business aspect. So I believe, like, let's cut that. And I don't think the Young Avengers live action film would work. If you did it as a Disney Junior series, yeah, that would work. But I don't think that's going to work either in the MCU. I think that it's introducing the next generation of the Avengers, new members of the Avengers is where I'm thinking with that. And I think that too, like Daredevil could be like, like the big brother, kind of like, or the mentor, kind of like how Iron Man is, or Doctor Strange is to Ms. Chavez. Like, there's a lot that they can do, but I guarantee their minds have changed of what the next Avengers movie is going to be after Doomsday and Secret Wars. I bet you, like, this is going to change a lot. Like, yes, they can have the Fantastic Four and the Avengers, but I think I have an idea of where they're going with it, and that's what it kind of I feel like. Again, I think showing Angela Torres, introducing her in here, that she's White Tiger in comic book, and she has a lot of comic book stories with Spider-Man, but She-Hulk has a lot of history with the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four has a lot of history with Spider-Man, and so I think this is going to be the new Avengers, like, and I'm pretty sure you'll still have some familiar faces, but it's not going to, I don't think it's going to be Thor. I don't think it's Bruce Banner Hulk, but I don't think it's going to be Wanda. I don't even think it's going to be Doctor Strange either. I think Doctor Strange his run is coming to an end as well with that. I think there's going to be a passing of the torch with that too. So that's just me. I think that that's all going to change. The little girl from Thor: Love and Thunder, I think she'll probably be a member of the Avengers too. But again, we're talking about the next generation, and I think that's what they're going to focus more on. This is what DC fans wants to see one day, where you get the Justice League, and then you get like the Batman Beyond, then you get the new generation of Justice League members, and I think that's what Marvel's gonna go with their stuff. So that's where I'm getting at. Now, here's a theory about that emerald. The theory is, I believe there's multiple emeralds, and they're going to be the reason why what happens in Avengers Doomsday. I think that these things are not just regular emeralds. I think they came from somewhere, maybe another planet, maybe from Wakanda, maybe somewhere in this world or in outer space, or maybe like whoever hired. We don't know who hired these people. We don't know why that woman had it, and she is who is she the main boss, or is she dating somebody, or she's in love with somebody that wanted that emerald, that wants to meet Doctor Doom. That's what I think, and that's just a theory. No, but other than that, again, if I had to give this a 1 out of 10, I'm giving this a 10 out of 10, baby. This was a banger on bangers. Like, this was really good. I love the fighting scene. I love the acting. I love the interaction between Matt Murdock and Ms. Marvel's father. And it teased a lot, because a lot of these episodes don't tease a lot, but this one really teased and foreshadowed some future things that we're probably going to see in other Marvel projects in the future. So that's my review on that. Thank you guys so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace